Hi, it's Tim from Nordun. In this video, I showcase the basic use of memory tables in agent processing. Our setup is quite simple. First, we receive a purchase order in a PDF form, and we want our agent to process it to structure the data. Then we want to map the customer that is received on the purchase order to our internal customer ID, so we can insert it into our ERP and so on. And we also want to map the customer SKU code to our internal SKU code, and do this based on the memory tables that we have already prepared. And finally, we also want to insert all the positions on the purchase order into our PO position log, which can then later be also used in other agent processing or accessed via REST APIs or downloaded. So here we have a simple agent that considers some general information on the PO number, the customer, and then also the items on the PO. If we try to first maybe process one example PO, this is how it looks like. We start a new job. And this is the result that we get from the document. So next we want to add also the mappings for the customer and for the SKU codes. So we go back to the agent, and first let's map the SKU code from our customer to our internal SKU code. So let's add a new field. I call it internal SKU code. We go to edit field settings, and we set it to the type of lookup, since we want to map the existing SKU code field to our internal. And to this end, we will utilize an existing table. So we have here a table for SKU code mappings that looks like this. So we have the customer SKU codes, and then we have our internal SKU code. So we want to map from the left column to the right column. And to set it up, we add a new lookup map. We reference our SKU code mappings table. What we want to retrieve is here. So this would be our internal SKU code. And we want to match this based on the SKU code field, which should equal to the customer SKU code in the table. The rest we can leave as it is, and in case it doesn't find anything, we just leave empty constant value. Then we also want to map the customer. Here it's a bit more problematic, since we do not have any kind of identifiers here except for the name and address. So for the customers, we have another table which is called customers, and here we have a list of the customers, the name, the address, the city, the country, and also the identifier code. In this case, we will need to apply some kind of more fuzzy matching. So we create a new field, again, set it up as a lookup. We add a lookup map. In this case, we will be using the customers table. What we want to retrieve is the ident, and we remove the match key and go for the AI matcher agent, which enables more fuzzy matching logic. So here we want to search based on the company name, and also want to search based on the company address that we retrieve from the PO. In the table we want to look, you can just add all, and we want to match this based on the name, address, city, country, and these ones we can remove. And then this will match from the business logic the fields of the customer company name and the customer company address, and look into the table and try to match based on the name, address, city, and country. And then we save the changes, and we try to run again one processing with the agent with the same PO. And we can see that the agent has successfully mapped the customer ID and also the SKU codes to our internal SKU codes. Next, we want to also keep a log of all the positions of all the items in the POs, just for some kind of a lookup, for instance. For this, we go back to the agent. We first want to create a table that will host all this data. So we go to memory, we create a new table, let's say PO positions log. What we want to record here will be the SKU code. So we add one header with the SKU code. And let's say we also want to maybe keep the quantity. And maybe the third one, maybe let's also have the PO number, just to keep track of it. Okay, so we have the table, we can create the table, and it's empty for now. So we can go back to our agent, the order processing agent, and under data flows, we added the existing default data flow, and we add a new action that will update the memory. So we click the update memory action. We add a new operation. Since we want to update a table, we will click on table. And first we select a base tab from which we will pull the data. And in our case, we want this to be items, which will create as many rows in our tables as there are items. We want to insert this into the positions log. We want to append new records, and then we just have to map the fields from the agent to the table headers that we have just created. Alternatively, we can just click on Smart Match and ask the agent to automatically map the fields from our agent to the headers in our table. As we can see, the agent has mapped all the fields, and we can then just close this, save the changes, and we can again try to process one document. The agent has processed the document. If we go back to our table now and refresh, we can see that the agent has also updated the table. And with this table, we can then do many things. For instance, we can just download everything as Excel and have this data ready, or access it via REST API, or use it also as context in Ask Agents or in other agent processings as lookups. Thank you.